My name is Connor Walsh. I'm 48 years old, red-haired, and I've spent the last 10 years wearing the same blue and white plaid shirt, jeans, and winter boots, living alone on my farm in rural Montana. No family, no neighbors, no one who knocks on my door. Just me and my brown Labrador, Rusty. People in town call me the hermit, the man who talks to no one, the farmer who lost something he never recovered from. They're not wrong. 10 winters ago, my life cracked open like thin ice under a heavy boot. I lost everything, and I swallowed the pain whole, buried it so deep I convinced myself it wasn't there. But Rusty, he never forgot. 3 weeks ago, he started scratching the wooden boards of my front porch. At first, I thought he smelled a mouse or a broken pipe beneath the old planks. But he wouldn't stop. He scratched for minutes, for hours, for days. And every night, he sat facing that same spot, whimpering softly, like he was asking me to see something I had spent years avoiding. When I finally knelt down beside him and touched the cold wood, I felt it, the hollow sound beneath my hand. Rusty had found something I didn't know existed, or something I didn't want to believe existed. And that's when everything I buried, everything I tried to forget, began to rise to the surface. But this was only the beginning. What waited beneath that porch would force me into the one place I never wanted to return to, the past. The next morning, the Montana wind cut through the valley like a knife, whipping snow across the fields. Rusty paced back and forth on the porch, impatient, tail stiff with purpose. He nudged my arm, insisting, "All right, boy, show me." I removed the old lantern from the hook, grabbed my crowbar, and knelt beside the scratched plank. The wood was colder than the air, unnaturally cold. When I loosened the first nail, Rusty let out a low growl, not of fear, but recognition. Under the board lay a small metal lockbox. Rusty immediately pressed his nose against it and whimpered. I froze, because that box, I had seen it once before, 10 years ago, the day my mother died. The sheriff handed it to me at the funeral. I refused to open it. I was drowning already. I didn't want one more truth, one more goodbye, inside a box. So I hid it from myself, and apparently hid it from Rusty too. My chest tightened as I lifted it. The bottom was carved with a symbol I recognized. My mother's initials, and the year I was born. Rusty placed his paw on my knee, eyes soft, urging me forward. I carried the box inside. My hands shook so badly I could barely place it on the kitchen table. The fire cracked behind me, but I felt cold, like the past had opened a window inside my bones. The key was still taped under the lid, exactly where the sheriff said it would be. When I opened the box, the air left my lungs. Inside were 3 items: a folded letter with my name written in my mother's handwriting, a photograph of her holding a newborn me, and a second photograph, one I had never seen. A man stood beside her, red hair like mine, eyes that felt familiar and wrong at the same time. My father. I stared at Rusty. He stared back. "Why now, boy?" I whispered. "Why did you dig after all these years?" But Rusty walked to the door and barked. Once. Sharp. Urgent. He wasn't done. There was more. Something else hidden beneath the porch. Something my mother left for me. Something that would change everything I thought I knew about who I was. I followed Rusty outside again, the cold biting harder than before. Storm clouds gathered above the mountains, heavy and gray. Rusty moved to the far corner of the porch, not the spot where we found the box. A different spot. He scratched again. Harder. More desperate. Heart pounding, I pulled up the second board. Underneath was not a box. It was a small canvas pouch, wrapped in waxed cloth. My mother's handwriting marked it with 2 words. For winter. My breath caught. She used to say life had seasons. Spring brings hope, summer brings strength. Autumn brings truth. And winter, Connor. Winter brings the things we're finally ready to face. My hands trembled as I unwrapped the pouch. Inside was a second letter. Longer, older, and heavier in weight than the first. The first line shattered me. Connor, I didn't want you to grow up carrying the truth alone. I felt the world tilt. Rusty whined softly beside me. The letter continued. My love, the man you believed was your father wasn't. Your real father was a good man, a kind man, but he left before you were born. Not by choice, by force. Your uncle sent him away and told him never to return. I squeezed the paper so hard it crumpled. My uncle, the man who raised me after my mother died, the man I trusted, the man who convinced me my father abandoned us. The letter ended with, I hid these letters until you were ready. Rusty will show you when the time is right. Forgive me for making you wait this long. Forgive yourself for the years lost. Find your father before winter ends. I stared at Rusty, stunned. He knew. He always knew. My mother had trained him as a puppy to lead me here. When I was strong enough to face it, lightning cracked in the sky. And in that moment, I understood. This wasn't just a secret. It was a mission, a final gift, a truth I had been avoiding for 10 years, and now had no choice but to confront. I sat on the porch as snow began to fall, the letters resting in my hands. For the first time in a decade, the silence around me didn't feel empty. It felt like presence, like someone was sitting beside me. My mother. Rusty lay at my feet, eyes lifted, watching me carefully. Not with worry, but with certainty. He had done his job. He had opened the door. Now the choice was mine. I looked at the mountains in the distance. The same mountains my father might still be living beyond, somewhere in the shadow of pines and cold air. I whispered into the winter wind, All right, Mom, I'll find him. Rusty's tail thumped once, softly like approval. I stood up, for the first time in 10 years. My legs felt steady. My chest felt open. My heart felt alive. Not healed, but moving. Winter had brought what it always brings. Truth, courage, and the first step of the journey I had run from my entire life. I folded the letters carefully, placed them inside my coat, and looked down at Rusty. Let's go, boy. We've been waiting long enough. And together, the two of us stepped off the porch, toward the snow-covered path that would lead us not into the past, but finally, into the beginning of our future. Don't forget to leave a comment and subscribe to Paws of History. Every story here is a journey, and Thor and Lucas will be waiting for you in the next chapter.
Paws of History, because every story leaves a paw print, and its memories stay with us forever.